Are you tired of all the uneducated noise you're getting from the droves of YOLO meme coin peddling douchebag gurus out there trying to use you as their exit liquidity? Would you rather learn a competent university level set of skills that will guide you in managing and investing for the rest of your life? Join us 3 days a week at Digital Investor. Develop your knowledge of game theory, cognitive bias, macroeconomics, monetary theory, investment theory, psychology of the crowds, and more. For more info on Digital Investor and how it can help you, reach out at nickblacknext.com.
That actively sell your private information and front run your trades? Would you like to buy and sell your assets without any middlemen, intermediaries, or robots? Do you like paying slippage, fees, and having the price go up as bots steal from you on low liquidity decentralized exchanges? The solution is nodemarket.io. Set your guaranteed buy or sell price. No middlemen, no slippage, no bots ever. Buy or sell 1, 10, or even 10 million tokens, and you never have to worry. OTC trades are between you and the seller or buyer, guaranteed by audited smart contracts and no human middlemen. Nodemarket.io.
Bam! How'd you like that one?
Bam! I love
Bam!
it. Clear, concise messaging. Now, we know that it's Tank Top Friday, apparently, right?
Tank Top Friday. Yeah.
Is that what we're doing? Yeah, okay. What a relief, finally, if we can wear tank tops on Friday. I feel like I am teaching almost just the right amount through my tech tip videos to where people are starting to dabble around, which is great. And I appreciate all the feedback and the questions that I'm getting, but I'm worrying people might be dabbling a little too much into places where they don't know what they're doing. So number one thing that I've seen almost 12 times in the last day, do not touch those NFTs that are hidden that are from Polygon. Just don't touch them.
Yeah, don't touch them.
People keep asking, how do I move them? How do I hide them more? You don't touch them. Please don't touch them. The same thing goes for coins that are airdropped to your wallet. Those are dust tokens. As soon as you set an approval transaction, it's not an approval transaction. It's a transaction for the person who wrote that contract to come in and control your assets, meaning they can send them to their wallet. They can go liquidate them anywhere they want. So here's the thing. I'm teaching you guys enough to kind of know what's going on, but still, if you don't know what you're doing, just don't do it. But the number one thing, don't touch those assets that are in your hidden folder. Even the NFTs, if we drop, which I'm going to get to something here on that in a second because it's really cool. The NFTs that we dropped as the placeholder NFTs, sometimes they go to the hidden folder, sometimes they don't. You don't need to move them. They're still in your MetaMask wallet. You just need to know that they're there. The master list is the number one most important thing for these node placeholder NFTs. And guys, as soon as these things split, we'll be sending those out. But I do want to show you something. Can I share my screen? This is a big update on the site.
Oh, yeah.
Well, bam. Okay, so nodemarket.io right here. This is the NFT mint page. The functionality that we've added here, we can see a lot of people are still minting. And I don't know if you want to walk through. A lot of people had some questions about the difference between this NFT and the hypercycle license. It should be very apparent, the difference there, but we can maybe go over that soon. But check this out. So this is my wallet connection right here. If you guys click on this wallet, this is the first time you've ever been to the website, once you connect, you have this list of stuff. It shows a couple of your assets. It also shows your wallet address name. Mine says nodemint.eth. If you followed my video on how to get a .eth name, it will show up here, which is pretty cool. So now the functionality that we've added, guys, what? This is cool. You can now view your profile. We've added some new sections in the view your profile page. The NFT section, the license section, here's your orders, and then all of your activity we're building out. But the main section that I wanted to show you guys now is the NFT section. You know how we walked through that video yesterday on how to go check OpenSea to see your NFTs or go put your NFTs in MetaMask? Guess what? No longer needed. The NFTs that you buy over on nodemarket.io and the node licenses, once we get those dropped, are the only things that will show over here so you know they're legit. So this person actually just minted, and I can go over here to the mint. This person actually just minted that NFT, and so you can see it in their profile now. So any of you guys that have minted NFTs, you now don't need to go to OpenSea. You don't need to go to MetaMask. You don't need to go anywhere. You can see the NFTs right here in your profile page, which is so cool. Then when we get licenses, the node licenses will appear here with all the stats and everything. Your recent orders, the orders that you can cancel or delist or whatever you want to do can list here. And then you'll see all your buys and sells here. So that's eventually going to be built out. But for now, we wanted these NFTs to show up so you can see those NFTs and know that they were in your wallet right away. So as you can see on mine, I don't have any NFTs right now, so this button pops up instead. So I can go directly to the Mint NFT page to mint the NFT.
Why are you so poor?
What are you talking about, poor?
Mean Girls, the girls like, quit being so poor.
Oh, you talking about my $50 in cash I have? I'm rich.
I have some information, some hypercycle information.
No,
So,
get out of here.
Here, because a lot of people are like, I don't know where this got perverted, but people think that they no longer need to marry their tokens to their node licenses because they get tilling for free. That is not the case. Here's what the deal is. As they bootstrap to get the system going, to get the heartbeat going of the network, the treasury, Hypercycle's treasury, lent a S-box of tokens to a handful of masternode licenses to get them going. All right. Now, once people can split their node licenses from those master nodes, they can split off their 8s, their 16s, their 64s, 120, so on and so forth. There'll be a grace period, probably a month, where you will have about a month to put your tokens into your node licenses to create the marriage. Once that software is available. That could be tomorrow, it could be next week. But whenever that is, you're going to have a grace period of about a month. At that point, you're going to be putting your own tokens with your node licenses. If you want to keep that retroactive tilling rank and reputation. Otherwise, it's going to go back down. Why? Well, because in that scenario, you're not participating. The node licenses need the tokens. The only reason they're doing this is because they wanted to do a solid to the community because not everybody has a masternode license. And they realized this. They're like, hey, listen, a lot of people have 2 nodes, have 8, 16, whatever. So they want to give everyone retroactive tilling so that no one lost out. Again, it's part of this idea of inclusivity. No one's excluded, no secret groups, no private cabals and secret handshakes and all that other old bullshit. Everybody is even keel, even Steven, everybody gets to participate. But along with that, you have to actually participate. So once they release that token and you're allowed to take your tokens and marry them into the node licenses, they want you to do that. You'll have about a month to do it because they have to repay the treasury all those tokens. They didn't print them out of thin air. Those licenses need those tokens to be tilling. Then you won't have to do much else until compute starts. And then you're going to have to make another decision. And that other decision is going to be, okay, do I pledge to HyperPG or HyperPools or some other pool? Or do I run on my own masternode, masternode? Do I run my own node licenses on my own hardware or whatever? But you'll have time to do that. However, everyone should assume that the second that the equipment, the audits come back and they're just waiting. Like we were on a call, Brandon was listening to it. We were on a call. I mean, they're still on the call, the executive call right now where they were explaining, and Dan Tolliver, the super genius, he was explaining, guys, just tell people that all of those tokens that are establishing that tilling were borrowed from the treasury. They got to be paid back. And so that's why there's going to be a grace period. There'll be a grace period. So you'll hear some announcement, hey, the 1155 is ready. You can now marry tokens. You can split your tokens. Sorry, you can split your licenses, your bundles, either down to the single one or whatever you want to do. You can split them. Now you can marry the tokens to the licenses. You'll get your 1155 token, which has the W and the R capability. From that moment on, you'll have like a month to do that. I think they're going to give a month, 30 days. 30 days is a long time. If you can't find one day in 30 days to get that done, then maybe you're not like in it, in the community. So you'll have a grace period of 30 days. At that point, you got to put your tokens in. Those other tokens that were supporting that are going to get pushed back to the treasury. So I hope that kind of makes sense, because there was just this assumption where they're like, well, why would I do anything? I'll just get free tilling. No, that's not what it is. They're not tilling for you. They're just making sure that no one gets punished and everybody gets equal and fair treatment and no one got a head start. So if you do hear groups and like, oh yeah, well, these guys have a special this or a special that. No, they don't. There's no special nothing. Everybody gets treated equally, fairly. That's the thing. Anyway, so they're going to put out an announcement, by the way. They're going to make that very clear. The marketing people were all saying, yeah, we'll make this very clear wording, because right now it's not crystal clear. They will crystallize that. So there you go. You heard it here first, man. Okay, Brandon, do we have any other housekeeping?
No, I think we're pretty good there. I could show this. I'm working on a model so you guys can see a little bit better on how this thing wholly demonstrates. I haven't got it done yet. I'm running out of time each day. I'm trying to do so much.
You didn't like the picture that ChatGPT generated, the absolute
I
crazy.
love that picture. I just love English too, a little bit. And so you want to use a little bit of the terminology that like Tufi was sharing. He kind of talked about this 1155 contract. This 1155 contract is so key in this whole infrastructure here. The other thing, if you guys read the white paper, you'll learn a little bit about this native hypercycle token, on how that exists and why it's part of the ERC-64 protocol and that kind of stuff, and how that actually integrates with the whole hypercycle ecosystem. And what happens with these node licenses is they each have a defined number already in their location in the ERC-64 system as well. That defined number is interesting to read about too. So we're going to try to draw this whole thing out so you can see this schematic on how this works. But basically, I mean, simplest form, you're going to combine your node licenses with your hypercycle tokens, no matter what they are. If they're hypercycle.eth, hypercycle.bnb, those are equivalent. Those will be transferred over to the native hypercycle token. Then those will be married and put in and create this hypershare. And from that hypershare, you're going to get your W and your R. So
let's answer a couple questions that are germane, and then we'll kind of get on past this. What options are available for node owners without tokens? You could pledge those licenses at some point to HyperPG. They would then fill them. But again, me personally, I wouldn't do that. I want to own the 1155, because that's the ownership. If you just pledge those licenses and they put their tokens in there, that's cool. Except that what happens when the unwind comes? Everybody's thinking, okay, in 24 months, I'll just put my own tokens in. Will you? What if the amount that they're paying you is not equal to the amount that the token goes up? What if and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what if you're looking at a $10 hypercycle token? Okay, let's have a little come to Jesus. Who the fuck has, $5 million to put in their masternode 2 years from now? Just an extra $5 million. I mean, if you got an extra $5 million, good. But what I'm saying is we got to all you have to factor in all the scenarios. Maybe the token is the same. Maybe it's $1. Maybe it's 10 cents. But whatever your gut tells you, you need to let that factor. If you take your licenses and they're unfilled. Now, what you might do, Denny, if I'm in your position, I probably split the difference. I go, okay, let's say I've got 10 licenses. I'm going to fill half of them so that I have control over them. And I'm going to take the other half because I can't quite afford to fill them. and maybe I pledge them. If you pledge them and take a return on that, they're locked up for a time duration, right? If they're locked up for a time duration, you're going to get paid a return, but you're out. You're on the sidelines now. Yes, great, you get a return, but you don't have any control. You have more control even if you pledge them, if you've married your tokens into them, you still have more control because you own the 1155. Does that make sense? So I would just want to like really own them. If you know, like a toy that takes batteries is worth more than one that has no batteries in it. Like the Energizer Bunny doesn't work unless he has those Energizer batteries. The token is the battery. And unlike other projects, a lot of people don't realize this. This token is used in actual compute transactions. The token encapsulates the data in the transaction. I don't know. I mean, this is important because if you look around the crypto ecosystem, that doesn't exist. None of those other tokens, and when I say none, I mean like you have to look pretty far to find any token, like literally any project where the native tokens actually needed to facilitate a transaction. Otherwise, it's just ledger to ledger. I tell Brandon we're doing this. There's a consensus. We propagate out that news to other Alice's and Bob's, and then a transaction happens. In this case, in order for me to tell Brandon anything, I've got to send him a packet of information inside the token. The token has to be used. That's why every single node needs at least one token, because some percentage of that one token is used in that transaction. This is what makes this kind of layer zero proposition so enticing. And I'm an infrastructure investor in that I buy things that I think are infrastructure in what I consider the path of progress. It's worked since 2014 for many commas of happiness. So I just don't see any reason why I would change. That's why Hypercycle was so interesting to me from the beginning, is the idea of an infrastructure layer in crypto, and it's in AI also. So it's like, for me, it checks all the boxes. Anyway, there you go. Next question is, if you have your Hypercycle tokens on more than one wallet, will you be able to connect each one? Yeah, you'll be able to use multiple wallets. You're not restricted to one. What you'll do is you'll link your wallet and probably push them in. Now, I don't know the actual steps that you do because they haven't released that software. But the second that they do, we will have tech tip videos, and we'll do walkthroughs here on the show to make sure everybody knows what to do. I would urge, no one has to do anything this second, like nothing at all. Everybody can chill. Me, if I own licenses, I'm working to fill those licenses. I want to own as much as I can of this ecosystem. So I want tokens and licenses married together. That's me. You got to do whatever you think is best, but you can't look back a year later and be like, oh man, because, to me, it's like obvious. Okay. Will HyperPG pool start then? We don't know the date of when HyperPG will start all of that, but I know that they're probably doing the same thing as you are. Everybody's waiting for these final audits to come back so that the nodes can be split from the master nodes, and so that you can infuse tokens and node licenses together for that marriage to spit out the 1155 token, which, as Brandon explained, that's the hypershare token, which is comprised of two sub tokens that can be generated either for a wealth distribution or for a revenue share. Wealth being the doesn't matter. Anyway, that's what's coming. All right. During the grace period, we'll be allowed to place. Yeah, as far as I understand, it will be both BNB tokens and Ethereum. They're not going to say that your BNB tokens are worthless, which is why I think I always look at the spread. If you're just buying tokens to put into licenses, then I think it makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I also hate BNB. So it's like,
I know, that's the problem.
I'm
that's
conflicted.
We're like all conflicted.
I own licenses, but not many tokens. I was under the understanding that I could send them to HyperPG. That's true. And they would marry. That is also true. No, you are correct. That is true, Tim, but you're not going to make as much, in my opinion. I would rather be doing a wealth share. So there's two paths. One path is lend my tokens or licenses or both and get a fixed return. Maybe it's 9%, whatever, for 24 months. Great. That's path A. I know what I'm getting. Path B is I lend into hyper pools in such a way that I get a percentage of the revenue that they generate. I mean, probably you could split it. You could do both. But I want to have as much. Now, when you look at what the percentages that are paid, what we have right now is this. And this tells you, okay, if I have tokens, if I have licenses, if I put those together and lend those to Hyperpool, that's 32%. 32% is better than 12%. Brandon, if I'm missing this, is 32% better or worse than 20% or 12?
At all. Can't do it. It's too hard. I give up.
But you see what I'm saying? So I just think, like, to me, it seems like you should endeavor to do as much marrying as possible. And then with what you have left, you can pledge it, or you can wait. And as you collect rewards, you could infuse the tokens. You've got to do whatever makes the most sense for your balance sheet. And that's the other thing too, is like everybody's got to have their own kind of plan here. And just because I think it's one way doesn't mean anything. I catch a lot of shit in these Telegram groups. They're like, 2 weeks ago, I was trying to destroy the price of the token. You're trying to crash the token. Okay. All right. Now I'm trying to pump the token. You're trying to pump it. Oh, all right. Which is it? Pick which side you think I'm on, and I'll just nod and wave. But I have a lot of reasons why I want the whole ecosystem to perform. If the token goes up and then goes back down, no one really wins. The whole ecosystem needs to grow before the fucking robots come to take our heads off with laser cannons. Hey, Brandon, did you see that cool picture I did of the Terminator? And on the chest, it says runs on hypercycle.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. That was cool.
Yeah, that took me 13 milliseconds on ChatGPT because with DALL-E, have you messed with it? With DALL-E 3?
No.
What do you mean? It's on the app now.
Wait, what? Hold on. I'll mess with it today. Don't you worry.
So badass. Anyway, all right. Okay, a 721 token, the W and the R token are 721 tokens. Those are non-fragmentable ERC20 tokens. Remember, in the Ethereum ecosystem, there's a lot of different designations of kinds of tokens that have different functionality. The 1155, it has a lot of functionality. You can break it into tiny pieces. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. The 721 is kind of the minimally viable product in a lot of cases. Usually people launch a 721 when they're launching something that's not going to change, or when they're launching like a coin or a token where like money is the whole kind of reason that. So there you go. Let's see. Beth asks, yesterday you were talking about the rising price of Hypercycle. What effect, if any, will the rising price have on tilling or compute? None. Absolutely none. The price of the token is going to be something that affects people's barrier to entry. It might affect the way they price their exit. But it is a commodity that is necessary. It's the batteries for the node licenses. There's only so many node licenses. There's only so many batteries. In a perfect world, there's exactly enough batteries for all the node licenses, but you won't have that. Certain people will only trade. They have no interest in the community, which is fine. I'm not begrudging that. Some people just want number go up, number go whatever, and they're just here to trade the token. And that's fine too, but a certain percentage of that means that those tokens will never be in node licenses, meaning that the token becomes this commodity necessary to fuel licenses. So if there's not so much stress on the licenses, but there is a lot of stress on the tokens for a variety of reasons, then that means that the token is where the pressure is gonna well up. So, but the token price does not affect revenue other than whatever your entry price was into the ecosystem. Now, it would affect your revenue over time if, let's say 2 years from now, the price of the token's $5. So the price of spinning up a masternode, just getting a masternode license, well, that's cheap compared to the $2.5 million you'd need to fund it, right? Because you're not just going to borrow tokens. This whole thing about, borrowing tokens into perpetuity, I mean, that's going to limit your upside. So I would just kind of think of it like this. I buy these tokens at 55 cents. I buy them at 5 cents. I buy them at $5. None of that affects the revenue generation because that's all Hypercycle doing business using this ecosystem to do AI to AI compute. That's fiat currency being paid for service. That matriculates down as revenue. Where it affects your bottom line is how much did it cost you to enter the ecosystem? How long before you've paid off that investment? So it's kind of like the reverse. Brandon, does that make sense?
Makes sense to me. Let's lock this up so we can finish
Yep.
answering these questions here.
Yep.
We're 26 minutes in.
Oh, sheesh. Sheesh.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay. Let's get behind the wall and then we'll talk about shenanigans. Can you talk about R&W? We can behind the wall. Let me see. Okay, I got to get all my cool things.
Ooh, this is something else we're going to talk about behind the wall because I have a theory. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, Brandon's got a theory, everyone. And in just a moment, we're going to hear it. Let's see. Okay, first I go here. I'm learning this kind of like, oh yeah, this is good. Okay, here we go. No, man, mine first.
Screen.
No,
That's
mine
mine.
first.
Yeah.
We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now.
They love you. They love you, Brandon.
You
Yes.
didn't turn it off.
What?
Turn it off.
Turn what off?
Oh, it's still on both. Hold on.
Crap. Hold on. Okay. You know, you get to the one page, it makes you do it 3 times.